Hello everyone, welcome back again. Today I want us to discuss this common problem which affects the HP EliteBooks 840, 830, both G5 and G6. This is a common problem and most of the technicians experience a challenge fixing this issue. Uh, this issue is about the no sound. Yes, this problem. I know most of you guys have a big problem about this issue. It's very challenging though. Even me, I can attest that because sometimes I experience a very big challenge fixing this 830 and 840 G5 G6 sound issue. So we are going to discuss some of the guides which can help you to fix that problem. Uh, I can tell you for sure, even to as you're watching this right now, because you're stuck somewhere. You've tried all means, all the factors which affects the sound, but still you haven't managed. I know some of this guide will help you to uh, to fix that problem. If you've updated your drivers, your operating system, that is Windows, and even if you've gone ahead and replaced the audio IC on your EliteBook 840 and 830 G5 and G6, but still you're experiencing the same issue or the sound issue. So these are some of the guide you need to follow up, and I know you will not miss. Uh, you will not fail to fix that issue. Before I advanced, before I knew, I was still having a problem. But nowadays, I can say I am a bit equipped. So let's have a look at some of the guides. You'll have to follow this advanced diagnostic and repair guide so that you can help yourself. So first, let's have a look at the root causes. This is the causes beyond the drivers and beyond audio IC. So meaning before you proceed, you ought to have updated your drivers and you ought to at least you've tried something about the sound. Maybe you've updated drivers, you've updated your operating system, and even you've gone ahead and replaced the audio IC. So let's have a look at some of the other steps or other things you need to do to fix the sound. First of all, you need to do what's called BIOS configuration or audio codec disable. Yes, inside your BIOS, you need to power on your machine, then proceed to the BIOS menu, BIOS setup menu, then do the BIOS configuration. Disable the audio codec. Yes, that might help. Again, you have to check the EC. This is embedded controller. Sometimes the EC misbehaved. So within that EC, it also controls the speakers, the audio IC, the amplifiers. They're all controlled within the EC chip. And if that is EC chip is corrupt or failed or shorted, you might experience an issue with the sound. Sometimes you might have corrupted an NVRAM. This is non-volatile RAM. Yes, another thing which can cause that is the speaker circuit failure. Maybe the amplifier IC or filtering components like resistors or the tiny capacitors. Yes. That number 5 for another factor, maybe you have a faulty audio jack. Yes, that jack, that audio port sometimes affects the sound production and it can affect the audio IC. Hence, your machine might experience the sound problem. And then finally, you might be having an issue with the board, this system board logic faulty, especially the sound bridge, because we said the sound bridge is responsible for controlling what the most of the input and output devices. That is the speakers, the audio pods. Yes. So those devices are controlled within the sound bridge. So in case you've tried everything, your sound bridge might be your suspect. So let's have a look at the step by step. As you can see, this picture here, it shows the menu, the BIOS menu, and the onboard SATA controller is enabled. Onboard SATA mode. Okay, anyway, I don't want to go into details about this right now because we'll have a further discussion concerning this ahead of us. This is an EC chip. This EC chip may be corrupt or it is faulty in a way, maybe shorted or something is wrong with it. Yes, and this one can give out the signals which can be used to control the devices which might be responsible for sound production. So let's have a look at the step-by-step fix guide to sort out that sound problem. First of all, in case you have a BIOS problem, you need to reset your BIOS and NVRAM. What you need to do to reset the BIOS is to remove the CMOS battery, remove the main battery, and also, first of all, you need to disconnect the power source, that is the power adapter in case it is plugged in. Remove the main battery if it is inside. Disconnect the CMOS battery. The CMOS battery, this is the BIOS battery within your motherboard. You need to remove that chip. Then, not chip actually, that battery. It's a very small, tiny battery within your motherboard. Then, after you've disconnected all the power source within your computer or within your motherboard, hold the power for about 30 seconds or even more, maybe between 30 seconds to 1 minute. You need to hold that power button without letting it go. It will be like you're trying to power it on, however, but you're not having any power source. So meaning there's no way that motherboard will power on. However, you will be resetting the motherboard, especially the BIOS. So once you've done that, you reinsert back the NVRAM and even the BIOS battery and reboot. Reboot is restart it again. So at this time, in case you had the frozen BIOS, it will solve that issue. It will, in case the issue of sound was all caused by the frozen BIOS, it will fix the sound problem. After you've tried that and it doesn't work, you need to power on your machine and check the BIOS settings. To do that, you need to put into BIOS menu in HP, because now we are talking about the HP 830, 840, G5, and G6. When you press the power button before your laptop boots or before it powered on completely, you need to press F10 to enter into the BIOS menu. You press F10, it will take you to the BIOS menu. Once you are at the BIOS menu, you select the built-in devices. You will have an option written built-in devices. In that option of built-in devices, you will find an audio devices. Maybe it is disabled there. You need to enable it. Yes, you need to check that BIOS setup. Maybe someone else disabled it without your awareness, or someone who unknowingly disabled the audio and save the settings, then shut down the machine. So you will experience the audio problem, or even maybe if the BIOS was programmed and the file which is programmed inside has the audio devices disabled. So you need to go to the BIOS menu and enable that and tick that box or enable the audio devices within the BIOS, and it will fix your problem. Again, you need to inspect the audio path, and on the board. Yes, you will have circuits within the motherboard. There will be some tracks or the pathways with the audio sounds, audio signals, and audio voltages. You need to do the inspection. Maybe you have the spillage or you have a liquid damage within that circuit for the audio, and it will tamper with the signal flow, either from the audio IC to the speakers or from wherever it's going. So you need to inspect the motherboard to ensure that the audio paths are good or are in well condition. You can use the schematics. Yes, you can use the schematic to identify the lines for the signal and the lines for the voltages. And then you can use your meter to test whether those lines have the signals. To test for the signals, you will use an instrument called it's called what? Oscilloscope. You can use oscilloscope to measure the signals. If you want to test for the voltages, you can use the digital multimeter. So these are some of the audio IC you have in your motherboard. You will have another one called Realtek. You will have some called ALC. And these are examples. You have ALC 3228, ALC 236, and so on and so on. You have also what's called Max. This also is an IC for the sound. Yes, you inspect those ICs, whether they are affected by the corrosion or something is wrong with them. Maybe even you have blown up component around this IC. You know, in case you have blown up components around this audio IC, you might find that some signals will be missing or some voltages will be missing from either going into that IC or coming out from that IC. Then again, you can check the continuity from the codec. This is audio IC to the speaker amplifier. Yes, maybe you have loose connection between the IC and the amplifier. You can check the continuity. Those tracks, it must be continuous from the IC to the amplifier. Again, your next thing you need to do is to do what's called bypass the audio jack sensor. Yes, disconnect or replace the audio jack. In case, you know, maybe this audio port or audio jack has a short, and that short can be transferred to the audio codec or the IC. So you need to disconnect, you see whether it will fix your problem. Then again, you can remove that port or modify it. In case it is shorted or it has some issues, you can do something with that port. Or even you can replace the detector resistor. For example, resistor 123. This is R123. No, sorry, R103. Yes, that resistor is a jack detector. So you need to check on that. Maybe that resistor is blown up or there's some issue with it. Again, in case you try that and it doesn't work, you do what's called EC firmware reflash. So this is reprogramming the EC. You know, if that EC is corrupted or it's corrupt or it is crashed, you need to program it. You can just reprogram it like you're reprogramming what? The BIOS. Yes, that EC can be reprogrammed in case the firmware is expired or is outdated or there is something wrong with the firmware within the EC. You can do the reflashing. Download EC file or EC firmware from the HP support. You can use these programmers CH341A to reflash the EC. In case if it doesn't work, you can replace that EC if needed. Yes, maybe it is too damaged until it is not programmable or it is not usable anymore. Yes, or if it is blown up, you can just replace it. You need to replace the EC. And replacing the EC, you need to look for exact EC for it to work. So you need exact one. You cannot just replace any EC from anywhere. So you need to look for exact EC chip so that you can have a merging firmware. Not unless you can remove whichever EC you've got, then reprogram it, then uh, you reprogram it to match the actual EC which was there before. That you can't replace it after you programmed it. Next, you test with live OS UFI. I believe that you can do this. Yes, most of you guys I know you know about the Ubuntu OS. You can boot using Ubuntu Live or HP UFI hardware diagnostics to confirm if the actual problem is about the hardware or the software. If you boot using this operating system, this Ubuntu, you will be able to uh, verify your problem is actually coming from the hardware or the software. Rare but real. In case you've done all of those and still you haven't succeeded, what you need to do is to check the sound bridge. Maybe your problem is about the sound bridge. We said the sound bridge is a chipset contained within the PCH, and this chipset is responsible for controlling the input-output devices. And some of these input-output devices is the speaker, is the audio port. So in case this chipset is faulty or it is dead, it will not be able to do its work. And we said some of its work is to control those input output, including the speaker. So if the speaker is not controlled, it means we will not be having an amplified sound. Yes, we will have a digital sound. However, we cannot hear it from through the speakers. Yes, in case you have this issue, that will be a dangerous one, because the solution for the sound bridge problem is to replace the motherboard. Yes, faulty if audio still fails, you can suspect the PCH. We can suspect the PCH because within the PCH, we have the sound bridge. And that sound bridge is what controls the input-output devices, including the speaker. From there, symptoms may be included. So the symptoms or what can make you suspect the sound bridge. These are some of the things which can make you to suspect the sound bridge. You might be having USB misbehavior or touchpad misbehaving, keyboard issues, and any other input-output devices. In case you're experiencing some of these issues, maybe you've replaced the keyboard but still not working, or some keys are not functioning, sometimes it responds, sometimes not responding. In case you have an issue with your touchpad, maybe at times it's not touching or what, USB ports not responding or not visible. Yes, that can be a suspicion of a failed sound bridge. Yes, that can give you indication, or these are some of the signs of a failed sound bridge. However, you cannot rule out any other factors that you assume it is about the sound bridge. So before you conclude it is sound bridge issue, you must make sure you uh, explore all the factors which can affect the sound production. So both level repair or motherboard replacement, that is in case you fail to do the repair. Now it will be there is a ways to replace the entire motherboard. Yes. So make sure before you conclude anything, before you give a final report, make sure you check all the factors which can contribute to fail sound in your computer, especially 840G5, 830G5, and 840G6, and 830G6. So let's have a look at some of the checklist. Yes, ensure that you tick this list before you conclude your motherboard is beyond repair. You'll have to check and the solution. In case you have a BIOS audio enabled or disabled, what you need to do is to reset the BIOS. Or you can code the BIOS setup menu that disable and then enabled from the building devices. In case you have a jack detection faulty, if your audio port is faulty, what you need to do is to replace that port or remove the jack detect resistor. Yes, you can either replace it or remove the resistor, or you can replace that resistor. Again, in case you have amplifier IC faulty, in case your amplifier IC has failed, the easiest way to do it is to replace. You replace that amplifier. Yes, you just replace it. Or even you can check around that IC. In case you might be having some corroded components there, you might be having short capacitors. You, instead of replacing the IC, first just check what? Check those components around that IC. In fact, sometimes you might find uh, the amplifier IC is not functioning or the audio IC is not operating just because there's a missing component around there. So before you conclude replacing the audio IC, ensure that uh, you've checked whether you have missing components or the faulty components, that is shorted capacitors, or corroded resistors, and so on and so on. In case you have EC not enabling codec, yes, we said this EC embedded controller is responsible for sending the signals to enable the audio IC. So in case you suspect the EC is not enabling the codec, what you need to do is to reflash or replace the EC. Yes, if you're not able to reflash it, you just look for exact EC and then replace it with it. Then finally, in case you have a problem with your sound bridge, no shortcut. You do what? You do the motherboard replacement. So guys, thank you so much. I believe by now maybe I have helped someone. I know most of you guys are always stuck. Yeah, even me, I know this issue of HP 840, 830, G5, G6, it's always problematic, especially solving the sound issue. I know it's very tough. So guys, please uh, try to follow these steps and you might be lucky or you might not. So I know this is not an easy task. So, and most of the customers don't understand these things. We are not manufacturers. So we are all always trying our luck. Yes, if it is something we can fix, we do fix. If it is something beyond fixing, we let it go. Even the doctors in hospital, they don't always treat all the patients and all the patients go home healthy. Some patients came caused to hospital to die there. Even laptops, laptops are patients. Some laptops came to our shops to die there. So we always try our best, yes. But in case we don't manage, we let them go in peace. So thank you so much, guys, and see you in the next video. In case you haven't subscribed, you haven't subscribed to this channel, please, I'm still bleeding with you. I am requesting you, please subscribe, share with your friends, so that you don't miss our lessons. We shall be sharing a lot of content, both theoretically and practical. I know I haven't started doing the practical session. I'll be sharing very soon. There are still some one two I need to sort out before I start sharing the motherboard repair in theory or in practical. But for now, because I am able to share the theory part of it, I'll be sharing a lot of tutorials about the laptop repair. And we do still teach in case you are interested in learning on site. I know the content I am sharing here on YouTube are not enough, but still you can learn a lot from it. In case you can make to come to our workshop, you can reach me. Then we can discuss the further details about the teaching. We do teach all the course takes 3 months. Yes, it takes 3 months for you to be the master, for you to be pro. So welcome guys, and see you in the next video. So please subscribe, don't forget to share with your friends, and bye bye.